Today's My Thoughts Monday is brought to you by GymAware, the leading tool when measuring performance in the weight room. Guys, VBT is all the craze right now. It's a hot, sexy topic, although it's something that's been around for a while. And the man who wrote the book on velocity-based training, Brian Mann, has called the GymAware the Rolls Royce when it comes to velocity measuring devices. Guys, the ability for you to shoot all your information right up into the cloud and store it right away is enough for me right there to make sure that this is something that I had in my weight room. Putting things together with instant feedback as to how the reps are being performed. On top of that, with the x-axis correction, so you don't have to necessarily worry about direct positioning when you're performing the exercises. Tying that in with the visualization of everything and the ability to allow the athletes to compete. Make this an absolutely stellar tool and something I couldn't recommend you having in your weight room enough. Hop on over to kinetic.com.au today and see everything that they have to offer. Hey everybody, if you enjoy the podcast and the content that it provides, make sure you hop over and check out the all-new Strength Coach Network. The Strength Coach Network is a combination of the CVA SPS community and the Rugby Strength Coach community, bringing you what is sure to be the internet's leading resource for continuing education for strength and conditioning professionals. Combining these two resources has allowed us to bring some of the best content from some of the best minds in the world together for your one-stop shop to better improve the continuing education for not just yourself, but your entire staff. Bringing together all of the lectures from the Rugby Strength Coach community, along with the lectures exclusively done for the Central Virginia Sport Performance community, and all the lectures performed at the Central Virginia Sport Performance Seminar, make this an absolute must for performance coaches around the world. The world-class lectures at the Strength Coach Network are not all that you'll see as well. The discussion in the forums and the support and the career guidance from some of the top practitioners in the world, from people all over the world, makes this an absolute must and a great place for you to network, learn, and grow as a performance professional. So hop on over to strengthcoachnetwork.com and use the code CVASPS, that's C-V-A-S-P-S, to get your 48-hour trial for only $1. We're sure you're going to find great value in the Strength Coach Network and are really excited to have you involved. So hop on over to strengthcoachnetwork.com and use the code CVASPS to check it out today. Hey, what's happening, everybody? I'm DeMayo, and this week's edition of My Thoughts Monday, I would like to talk a little bit about how we handle our developmental players. And by we, I mean as a whole, from what I see at 15,000 feet, when you're talking about whether it be redshirt players or freshmen or your walk-ons or whoever it is that isn't getting as much run in a game, I'd like to talk a little bit about how we handle these kids, because I think that there's a couple things that we talk about when it comes to training that we don't always necessarily follow when it comes to our developmental squad. The first and foremost is, most of these young men and women are in this situation because they lack something. Or maybe there's just people above them that have more of some things than they do. And by lack of something, I mean, could be anything from skill to, general fitness, like being in shape stuff, to they may not be strong enough or big enough. So obviously, we need to help them when it comes to whatever aspect of that we can be there to assist them in order to help prepare them to be a valuable member of the team in the future. But we talk all the time about how at different times of the year there needs to be different focuses, and that sometimes of the year when we need to look at what we're doing versus what is going on in sporting practice, because obviously with a vast increase in volume and intensity at sporting practice, the reserves really aren't there for what we would like to accomplish at all times when it comes to the development of some of these athletes. I think, though, a lot of the time we overlook that. we need to remember that a lot of these kids, for the most part, are going to end up being your scout team kids, getting scout team reps, which means A, they're meeting extra to learn what the scout team is doing on top of what they would be doing in your team's offense or defense or special situations or whatever it may be. And because they're on the scout team and because they're doing all of the things to prepare the team for games, there's a really good chance that they're getting more reps and more volume than some of the kids who were worried about keeping ready to play in games. That's one thing that I've noticed for certain with our kids is that the scout team kids, those young men get way more work, especially the second half of the season, than anybody. They're on the floor more, and they're battling with, the guys that matter at the moment, that are getting the minutes, that are getting the time, that are the ones competing when the lights turn on. And then these kids are still asked to do 3 to 4 to 5 times as much work in the weight room in order to develop these other qualities that, are allegedly inhibiting their ability to contribute to the team. So I think that's something that we can do a better job of keeping in mind is that, these kids are freaking killing it, busting their butts, doing all this extra work on the court. And yeah, you're right. When the lights turn on, they're not playing, but they're kind of playing a game 2 days a week leading into the game and then getting a day off, if you may, and then 2 more days. So I think that to be completely and totally transparent, that's why Dr. Yes's system fits so well with what I was looking at and what we were doing, is because of the, extra volume and intensity of practice work that these kids were doing, and then being able to find that little bit that allows us to continually progress, or at least find enough that we're not breaking them while they continually progress. I think that that's really been where it's resonated and fit the most for me and for the kids that I have the pleasure to work with, is because if you look at outputs and work and those things, most of your scout team kids are going to be your top outputs. At least that's what we see on a daily basis. So with that in mind too, right? Like, they're the ones that are at the end of the bench with you. For some of us, well, for some of you guys, I'm the last seat on the bench, but for some of us, they'll even sit further down the bench than you do, on game days. And then they end out being the guys who are getting beat up every day, and being the guys who nobody knows, or, really, like, the general public doesn't really root for. The student section does when they get a chance, but that's really it when it comes to their fan club. We got to make sure that we throw in something for them too, right? Something that's fun. Something that we've ended up doing with them to give them something to look forward to on game day. As cheesy and cliche as it sounds, is, we do like a 30-minute, we just call it the Arm Farm group, where the guys who bust their butts every other day get to come down, and I jump in there with them because they asked me to and they seem to enjoy it, and I let them run the workout. Because at the end of the day, if a 30-minute arm workout really throws your acute to chronic off that much, or it really throws your programming progressions off that much, like, there's probably a bigger problem with what you're doing anyway. So that's what we do on game days with these guys. They come in before we shoot, or we go down in the hotel gym before we shoot. We just have some fun lifting weights and kind of half bullshitting and, enjoying it. Like, having fun being with each other and training with each other. Because, again, until the lights go on, these are the kids who are getting beat up. These are the kids banging with the starters and the people that get the minutes. And showing them a little love and getting in there with them and having some fun with them and even allowing them to dictate some, if not all of these types of things that are really tertiary in value at best has gone a long way. And it's really developed some significant and open and really positive relationships within the whole team. You know, when they understand that you're willing to go the extra mile for the kids that are really getting their freaking snot beat out of them every day for the betterment of everybody else. So keep those kids in mind, man. Keep those developmental kids in mind. Keep track of what they're doing at practice. Because, yeah, you know, they do need to do a little more than everybody else. But if they're already doing a lot more than everybody else in the court, how much more is a little more in the weight room, really? And throw them a bone, man. Get them some stuff that's fun. Let them enjoy it. Let them have some time that's theirs, you know, with the group, with each other, with you. It'll go a long way, not just for their development, but, you know, for the relationships that you have with them. Because those kids that sit next to you at the end of the bench, those are your ride or dies through the season, man. Those are the ones that are going to help you out and be there for you as well. So, and let's not forget that each one of those ride or dies got a name. Whether it be Batman, or it be Otto, or it be Gates, or it be Thomas, or it be Blake, or it be Sal. You got to remember that they're people too. And if they're going to be your ride or dies, you got to ride or die with them also. So keep them in mind as you move forward. Because the more you put in for them is the more they'll put in for everybody else. As always, guys, I'm truly grateful for everything that you do for us here at Central Virginia Sport Performance. We'll be back next week with another My Thoughts Monday. I'll see you then.